colicky, and she's a player that can really stay at home and keep things tight and buttoned up in there.
So let's love the game from historic Riggs Field in Clemson, South Carolina. The Clemson Tigers on their senior day, on this final home match of the regular season. They are all in white. The Pitt Panthers coming in blue with the gold trim, gold numbers. Both of these teams in the midst of some pretty impressive seasons so far. Overall and in the ACC, Clemson 12-1-3, 6-1-1, sitting second in the ACC. Pitt 12-3-1, 5-2-1 in conference. And the Panthers coming off a loss, but an impressive one, 3-2 on the road at Florida State. So let's get your keys to success in this one, Marion.
Yeah, absolutely. Win the midfield for Pitt. Randy Waldrum believes that this game is going to be won or lost by his midfield players, hence the highlight on Deborah Abiodun. And then for Clemson, controlling the possession percentage. While they don't feel like the game will be won as heavily in the midfield, they do like to build out of the back. And one of their keys is going to be to try and keep those Pitt Panthers at home defensively. In order to do that, you have to keep them off the ball and have a much larger percentage of the ball.
Tigers with the throw into Sammy Meredith. McKenna Moore has such a weapon from that outside back position. Just forget about the fact that she's a defender, because she gets into the attack quite a bit. 7 goals, 6 assists for number 2 in white. Part of this Clemson team that sits just behind the Pitt Panthers in most offensive categories in the ACC. There is Morris, brings it down, but puts it out of bounds. Randy Waldrum really likes this team that he has put together this year in his 6th season at Pitt. Of course, he's coming off an incredible summer at the World Cup with the Nigerian national team. You mentioned Deborah Abiodun. She's a player who played for Randy Waldrum with Nigeria. She's a Nigerian native, and she's also, of course, an important piece of this Pitt Panther team in this, her first year with the program as a freshman. And Randy Waldrum, one of only 2 active coaches in the country to both coach collegiately and have also led a World Cup team at some point on the women's side. You got a guess for the other one there, Marianne? I'm going to put you on the spot. In this conference, he's been coaching a long time. Yes.
The man, the myth, the legend. If you don't know the answer to the question, just say his name and it's likely right.
That's true. I was still dropping some hints anyway, but figured you were on top of it.
Absolutely.
Hanson Dorrance obviously was a part of the first Women's World Cup winning team, and now has his Tar Heels unbeaten on the season, along with the Florida State Seminoles. Good overlap there. Ball across. Good mix on this Clemson team. We mentioned it is senior day, celebrating their seniors, 3 of them. Ball bounces in the box to goalkeeper Ellie Breach, who averts danger on that attempt. Eddie Radwanski talked about, on the other side, Randy Waldrum loving his team. Well, how much does Eddie love this team, Marion, right? I mean, the first thing he said is just how great the chemistry is. And don't take that for granted. You and I both know that is one of those intangibles that can really make a difference between a team that has a lot of talent but doesn't succeed and one that does.
I just loved talking to him yesterday, and just the emphasis that he feels like is on the we part in this locker room. You know, he says, we have just been such a we team this year, and you look at the players on the field and their attitude is all about we.
Here come the Panthers, and that defense, Makowitz has to come up big in the opening minutes of this one.
And here we see just how quickly Pitt can explode into the final third. No more than 2 touches for Amanda West so far in this game, and she's already registered a shot on goal, forcing Makowitz to make a save.
Well, that's your ACC shot leader, Amanda West. Leads the conference in shots per game. She's tied for 3rd in points. We've got a lot of the leaders individually, particularly on this Pitt team when it comes to the attack.
You know, when I was looking up some research for this game, it just how many categories you see a Pitt player leading in, almost every single offensive category. It's hard to comprehend sometimes. We can sit here and say they're good, but when you actually see it on paper and have the numbers to back it up, it's really outstanding what they've been able to do in the attack.
Yeah, and here they are again. Landy Mertz looking across. Oh, that's a beautiful ball set up, but it is handled, at least initially, by the Clemson defense. They put it out of bounds. This sets up a corner for the Panthers.
And Landy Mertz, one of the most underrated players, I feel like, for this Pitt offense, likely because she doesn't have some of the goal-scoring numbers that her teammates do, but a player that is going to do everything she can to get in line every single time she touches the ball. Gets a corner kick out of that one for her team.
Panthers also lead the conference in corner kicks, and Sarah Shapansky, #1 in the ACC in goals and points, will serve this one right into the box. Makowitz got a glove to it. That is exactly the delivery you want to see, and it took a nice save from Makowitz there to keep it out. I love this formation too for Pitt, which they've shifted into, Marion, over the last several matches. Last time you and I saw them was on the road at Louisville. They lost that match 3-2 and have since really put all of their weapons on the field at the same time. That's what you get with this.
Yep, and look, you are looking at it right now. That's a great picture of different threats that they can bring to this group. That was a much-needed save from the Clemson goalkeeper. And to your point, Jen, Randy Waldrum is a very traditional coach, and he'll say that. He'll be very open about it. He likes that traditional four-back. But for him, in order to get all of the weapons on the field at the same time, he needed to shift to a three-back and be able to have a little bit more of his playmakers in the midfield area. You see earlier in the season, Sarah Shapansky, Landy Mertz, even Amanda West, they were all rotating, starting times. And it was very interesting to see the different roles he would try to play Sarah Shapansky in. Finally realized that I can get Amanda West and Landy Mertz on the field at the same time if I drop Sarah Shapansky down to that attacking midfield role. She has done that, which has forced really Abby O'Doon to have more of the ball. She's become more of the playmaker in the middle of the field for them as well.
With the ACC championship starting a week from today, of course, all eyes on that tournament and trying to figure out what the standings will be, what the seedings will be. We will certainly dive deep into that next week in our primetime matchup on Thursday. We'll follow these Clemson Tigers to Notre Dame. That'll be the last game of the regular season in the ACC. But the things to remember, top 6 teams in the conference make it to the postseason in the ACC. The top 2 teams get a bye to the semifinals. They'll head straight to Cary, North Carolina, and Clemson knows they can get there and do that if they win their final 2 matches today against Pitt and then in that last one on the road at Notre Dame. Panthers have never beaten the Clemson Tigers, but they drew in their last match to end the regular season in 2022. That was a match that actually qualified Pitt for the ACC tournament and left Clemson at home. Panthers moving through the edge of the area again. This one took a little bit of a deflection as it headed in. Took some of the whip off the ball as it made its way into Makowitz.
And another key to success for Pitt, as we just saw Amanda West take her second shot of the game, is going to be shot selection. There is no doubt, we've already seen it, that Pitt's going to have chances and more chances this game. But Haley Makowitz has been phenomenal, and they are going to have to be purposeful in every shot they put on frame to get by her with the way she's playing right now.
Tigers now looking to mount a little attack of their own, getting the other direction. Meredith lets it go through. Hal Hirschfeld, one of the leaders on this Clemson team, graduate student in the midfield, hoping to see this ball up the field. That one does get out of bounds. This is going to concede a corner for Clemson.
And really good stuff here from Clemson early on. In order to control possession, you need a lot of interchange, and they have been forcing Pitt players to come back and track, make those 20, 30-yard runs back to do the defensive work. A bad misclear, and something that Pitt has really wanted to button up in their last few games are just those mental mistakes in the back.
Set piece opportunity now for the Tigers, driven and headed up and out. That goes off of Pitt, though, so Clemson will get a chance to try it again.
Quality delivery into the box.
Different placement this time. It's headed down into the box, but only Pitt players there to meet it. Harper White to Morris. Shamaya Fury. And the Panthers are offside on the play. It's Maya Fury, the transfer from Oklahoma State. One of those other attacking weapons that you can't not talk about for Pitt. She'll make you do that at some point. 9 goals, 3 assists. She had a penalty kick in the 81st minute on the road at #1 Florida State on Thursday that closed the gap to 1. It was 3-2, the final in favor of the Seminoles. Tigers looking to get behind. Jenna Tobia, one of the freshmen who've really come in and made an impact. Now a chance for a shot, and it is saved up and over. Ellie Breach having to come up big.
And we highlighted Megan Bornkamp in the open for a reason. She is a player with a lot of versatility. She can sit at home and protect the back line, but she can also get involved in the attack and really make a difference. I mean, Jen, she started this season as their target forward. Now she's dropped back to a lower position in the midfield, and it gives her space and time to do things like that, forcing Ellie Breach to come up with a save and another Clemson corner kick. I would put this much closer to goal. I didn't like that outswinger that they had last time.
Doesn't quite make it all the way in, left it a little short. Danny Davis will try it again, though. Now back in the box looking for a flick. Still there for the Tigers. Touched out. Tatum short, and then the header puts it back to Breach.
Tatum short was just sitting on the backside, waiting for the recycled runs, and Sammy Meredith's doing a great job to get herself up and over that one. Unfortunately, right to Breach.
Sammy Meredith, a 6-foot target in there for the Clemson Tigers.
Casual.
Yeah, just dropping that 6 foot.
Yeah.
Started her career at South Carolina, but has been here with the Tigers now. This in her 4th year, actually. Foul whistled on that play. Christopher Grabas setting up the free kick now with the whistle. Panthers cannot get the ball clear. This could be trouble. Tigers still had some good numbers up in their attacking third. Which team, Marion, can make the other have to defend more in this match?
Yeah.
We know they both want to attack. It's the Tigers now, once again, causing problems.
And Jen, I just love matchups like this because it's such a cat and mouse game. You see right now that Clemson is really on the forefront. They are the team that has captured a bit of this momentum, but that's going to shift. It's going to swing back and forth, and this game is going to be about moments and managing the moments. And right now, Clemson doing a really good job forcing Pitt to track back making them only go really route one. We haven't seen a lot of Pitt buildup early in this first half.
Tigers come in having won their last 3 matches in the ACC. Ashton Gordon, middle of that back 3 for Pitt, looking up, finding Mertz. The fall seasons are ending soon. We'll have 3 ACC championships coming up for you on ACCN and the ESPN app. Men's cross country, that starts Friday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and then you'll have the women's 6K, both of those coming up from Tallahassee. Then on Sunday, I know you know what's coming on Sunday. It's the Women's Soccer Championship quarterfinal action. That's at 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern. Then Tuesday, field hockey quarterfinals begin at 1, 3:30, and 6 right here on ACCN.
Got a lot going on.
I mean, this is the time of year, right? And basketball is right around the corner, too.
Can you believe
the winter
it?
sports. It's hard to. Well, once again, another tremendous showing by the ACC in women's soccer. The Clemson Tigers, certainly a part of that, ruled offside on this play. Pitt Panthers, too, ranked in the top 20 coming into this matchup today. Not sure Eddie buys it. Let's see what you think.
Yep, just a hair. Literally a knee drive. That ball played just a half second too late, and that would have been pinpoint perfection. And such good interchange right now from Clemson. They're really forcing Pitt. I've said it multiple times already, but they're forcing Pitt just to defend and defend and defend.
Good quick touch, but gets away from its intended destination. Meredith, a grad student from Charleston, South Carolina, part of that experienced core of the Clemson team. You also have Bourne Camp out there. It's her senior day, although she has announced she's coming back, so that is great news. Hirschfeld's a grad student. Harper White's a 5th year. Morris a senior. Makowitz a senior. Morris also being honored along with Makowitz.
This is potentially the most talented roster that the Clemson women's program has seen in quite some time.
Talented and deep, right?
Yes.
I think that's a key component as well.
You know, and a little bit of the reason their attack is flying under the radar a bit, just again, because they've been so good defensively. Anytime that you only allow 8 goals, you're in single digits, that's going to be subject for people to talk about. But so much of the reason, perhaps, that their attack has flown under the radar is because they have an interesting mix of really valuable experience and first-year impacts.
And here they come again. That right side has been awfully busy for Clemson. And they've usually found some success getting a shot, getting across when they've had it here. Here they go again. Well, off the mark. But here are some of those numbers that we're talking about. And this one, we're going to go offense on this one because, as you said, the defense does tend to overshadow for Clemson. But look at those offensive numbers right behind Pitt in a lot of the categories.
Yeah, the first-year impacts have been valuable for them. The experience they bring to this pitch has been valuable for them. And the most important part is they're making really good decisions in the final third. You know, you look at some of these teams, Jen, who have great build-up, they have great passing sequences, but nothing to show for it. And that's oftentimes the piece that's missing. And for Clemson right now, they have everything clicking, and it's clicking at the right time.
43 goals for Clemson, 47 for Pitt. If you like offense, you've come to the right place, but they're going to have to earn it today, the way both defenses, and particularly Clemson's defense, number 1 in the nation. Makowitz with 11 shutouts has been playing. Abiodun coming back to help defensively. Fury going to get turned around up top. unleashes. Puts it too close to McKenna Morris and the Clemson back line. Danny Davis, one of those freshmen who have been so instrumental. Tobia, bouncing ball over for Short. One move, has a chance for the shot, rolls it.
Love that look from Tatum Short. And she's just been hanging out over here unmarked for a lot of the build-up sequences because, Jen, you mentioned it, Clemson right now playing heavily on that right side. If they can continue to switch the point of attack quickly like they did in that sequence, Tatum Short is a player that can absolutely deliver.
Because there should be a numerical advantage, right? If Pitt is being aggressive and pushing their midfielders up where they want them to be, that's where Clemson should be able to take advantage.
And that's the cat and mouse of this, is really going to be in the wide channels.
Here's Short again, freshman from Las Vegas, Nevada. Davis has started every match this season. Freshman from Port Washington, now Harper White. A little off the target. So if you hear us talking about the freshmen and the impact they're making, you can see some of the numbers and just the consistency with which they've been able to be a part of the lineup for Clemson this season.
That's so impressive. 3 freshmen, 16 starts. Again, we talked about it, valuable experience at this Clemson attack, and then these first-year impacts. I thought it was so interesting what Eddie told us yesterday. He said, you know, they just don't know any better. And oftentimes that's just so true. You go into a season as a freshman and you really don't know what to expect, and you have all of this success, and you know you're almost too naive to change anything, and you haven't been showing up on the scouting report. So I know they still have a lot to play for, but it'll be really interesting to see how they come back next season and how their game has to evolve after showing up on scouting reports.
Morris forcing a punch from Breach. Clemson still with it. Looking for the shot. Davis has it blocked. Amanda West and Pitt looking to gain a little momentum back in this match. It's largely been in favor of the Tigers. One of your keys to this match, Marion, was that possession and control for Clemson. They've had it feels like, so far in this one.
And while Clemson is a team that can really put other teams under pressure, you know, we saw in their Louisville match, because they understood that Louisville is a team that has very strong defensive posture, so they had to really trust and be patient. They played off a lot, right? Their line of confrontation was very, very deep in that Louisville game, and that's a little bit of what we're seeing here. And again, Clemson is a team that very much wears other teams down in the attack. They're not maybe going to be as explosive as a team like Pitt is. They may need a little bit more time to have those quality opportunities, but
they know they're coming. And that was the case
exactly
in the match with Louisville. They're getting into 70th minute. You might get a little antsy, but then here come 3 goals from the Tigers to win it 3-0 on Thursday night. Renee Lyles, by the way, getting a brace off the bench. Really good weapon who's starting to get back to full health for Clemson. Chance for a shot. Bornkamp forces another save. Breach far too busy for her liking, I would imagine, in this first half.
And shots from distance, that was a problem for Pitt in the FSU game. They actually FSU scored their 3rd goal because, yeah, there were players in the vicinity, but no Pitt player stepped to mark. And similarly there, you can see a little bit more tenacity going to ground, but, you know, you have to think if Tatum Short on this left-hand side would have just followed that one up, would have been an easy toe poke finish.
So there is Renee Lyles, players I just mentioned. She's in for Tobia. And then Emma Wenner also coming in to replace Meredith. fifth corner of this first half for the Clemson Tigers. Davis puts it up and a little too close to the goalkeeper that time. Panthers also making a couple of changes. Kira Mellenhorst has started 11 matches this season. She comes on in the midfield, and Anna Bout also another midfield change for the Panthers as Abiodun and Minas head off the pitch. No score so far. Tigers out shooting the Panthers 5-2. They've put 4 of those 5 shots on target to get this match started. Jen Hildreth, Marion Crowder, glad to have you with us here on ACC Network on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Our final Sunday of the regular season in ACC women's soccer. Pitt took the first 2 shots of this match, and since then it's been 5 unanswered from the Tigers. Short, a lot of space there in the midfield, but it's played back initially. Panthers in transition. Clemson does a good job of getting some numbers back. Well, the season 4 premiere of All Access, the ACC Life, is tonight, and it features Clemson women's soccer, also Florida State volleyball and Georgia Tech men's cross country. You'll get unprecedented access into the lives of the student athletes, coaches, staff, parents, and fans. That is 4 Eastern right after our match here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. And, by the way, we'll have a little sneak peek at what the Clemson women's soccer portion of that looks like. That's coming up for you at halftime. No rush in the back. Tigers will play it all the way back. Mackenzie Dove, Harper White, the 2 center backs, now looking to press the issue a little more. Ball stays in play. Good step by the Pitt defense. Amanda West just loses it off her foot.
And we've seen that a few times now from Pitt. Clemson has been a little bit sloppy in moments of their build-up, but Pitt just gives it right back to them consistently. That's going to have to change if they want to swing some momentum in their favor.
The Panthers, so they really came out of that loss down in Tallahassee on Thursday night with a lot of belief, because they recognize that they went toe-to-toe with the team that's #1 in the nation right now, and they actually outshot the Seminoles in that match, but have had a hard time hanging on to it here today. Landy Mertz can't get there before Davis does well defending.
Danny Davis, just such a strong and athletic outside back. She can really play either side as well. I like that matchup, her and Landy Mertz. That's going to be one to keep your eye on, as well as the far side when Amanda West is in versus McKenna Morris. My, what power there.
I will say, though, we have not seen McKenna Morris get too advanced attacking in this match yet for Clemson. Just had to stay back defensively, keeping an eye on West, as you said, but here come the Tigers up that right channel. Do they keep it in? No, the flag is up, ball across the line.
Oh, just a half second too late. That touch just a bit heavy. It was a great ball played in. You had Megan Bornkamp making that delayed run.
Samaya Fury heading off as Fleming Dean, a sophomore out of Marietta, Georgia, comes on in her place. And we probably should point out, too, that we are toward the end of the regular season, so you may start to see some heavier legs. And then also, this is a Sunday after a Thursday in conference play. Those are always tough. You may not always get your best right off the bat.
Especially when you look at the matchup that Pitt played. It was a very, very hard-fought game against Florida State. Went toe-to-toe with them for 90 minutes. Players given their all. So I'm not surprised at all we're seeing some early and perhaps unfamiliar substitutions from this Pitt Panthers side.
Emily Brough coming on to replace Tatum Short. Brough, a sophomore from Liverpool, England. A consistent contributor off the bench for the Tigers this season. Foul against the Panthers will set up a free kick now for Clemson. And these are always dangerous opportunities. I haven't seen too many set pieces in this match yet, at least from free kicks. Clemson does have 5 corners to 1 for the Pitt Panthers.
Sarah to your left, Sarah to your left, Sarah to your left.
Davis and White both over the ball. They're going to think it through. Now Davis with the service. West has it taken off her foot. Good coverage there from Olivia Lee, the freshman who's stepped into that starting back 3 for the Panthers. Brough, fresh into the match. Can see all the Tigers charging forward, chance in the box, but a little too strong on that first touch from Emma Wenner. With the college basketball season starting in a few weeks, told you it was coming. ACC tip-off comes from Charlotte once again. The conference's annual preseason media days with the women Tuesday and men Wednesday. 9 hours of coverage starting at 8 a.m. Eastern both days. They'll have interviews with all 30 head coaches and players from each team right here on ACCN and the ESPN app. Get your basketball fix. Get ready for the upcoming season. You sense that the Tigers are just a touch away from getting one here. Bornkamp was an All-American for the Tigers, and she played in the back, but was always such a threat on set pieces. Now playing in a more advanced position. They're on the front line or in the midfield, as she is today. So we'll go out for a throw for the Tigers, deep in the corner.
And that is just how hard that ball was hit off. You heard it smack off Ellie Breach's glove. That was hit with power, with force. And you mentioned it, Jen, it just seems like Clemson's knocking on the door, getting inch by inch closer to putting one away here in the first half.
Tigers have stayed patient though, much as they did on Thursday. Took some time to figure out how to break down Louisville. The Panthers too have been tough defensively, especially in the first half. Lane St. George has checked into the match in the back line, replacing Mackenzie Duff for the Tigers. Under 10 minutes to play, scoreless first half from historic Riggs Field in Clemson, South Carolina. There you see Lane St. George, junior out of Seattle.
And that substitution will slide Danny Davis to be that left center back paired with Harper White.
While Pitt has been maybe a bit uncharacteristically quiet offensively, this defense, as I talked about, they've been really good in the first half. They've not given up a first half goal in 7 straight matches and just 1 all season in conference play in the first 45. Tigers are certainly challenging that though as they continue to attack. Bruff trying to get around the corner, and good defending though. A missed touch back gives the Panthers a chance to break. Mertz was fouled as she was knocked out of bounds. So Pitt will take the free kick.
Landy Mertz, we haven't seen enough of her. And Clemson just lets her out easy. That ball was going out of bounds. Now a ball that would have been in your possession is a free kick going the other way. Those are the differences as we get deeper into the season.
Ball initially won by the Tigers. Pitt still in possession. West, the all-time leading scorer for the Panthers, with the ball at her feet, takes the shot, actually across. The defense had it all covered. Pitt Panthers with an opportunity to really jump up in the standings in the ACC if they can find a way to get a win on the road at Clemson today. They have 16 points at the moment to Clemson's 19, so 3 points with a win would put those two even and give Pitt the head-to-head advantage. Clemson, meanwhile, trying to hang on first to vie for potentially that ACC regular season title. Florida State in control there coming into the day with 22 points, but also to try to stay in that top 2 and get that first round bye in the ACC championship. Just over 5 minutes to play in this first half. I think you give the edge to Clemson, right, Marion?
Yep.
But they don't have anything to show for it.
Yep, and I'm going to be really interested to see how this second half plays out. right now, obviously, Pitt in a numbers down situation in the midfield. That 3-4-3 versus Clemson's really 4-5-1 seems to be making it a lot easier for Clemson to keep the majority of the ball. But what needs to be cleaned up for Pitt as we look to the second 45 minutes is their ability to keep the ball once they win it. They have won it on multiple occasions. Their back line has actually done an outstanding job with their 1v1 defending. But they just have been giving it away, trying to go route one when there aren't runners in the box, trying to go route one when the target forward has had to drop back defensively. Those are all little things that can help Pitt clean this up and really keep more possession of the ball in the second 45 minutes.
Long ball over the top. Clemson looking for the chip. Not quite, but close for a winner.
That would have been a cheeky little finish for Emma Winter. A great ball. Clemson has been building and building. This time they decide to go with verticality. Emma Werner, a well-timed run, forcing Ellie Breach to come off her line. That was a pinpoint delivery by Danny Davis as well. She'll want that one back, no question about it.
But always good, right? Just to show a different kind of wrinkle in how you can attack.
It makes you respect what the other team can do. So, you know, I go back to our BYU TCU game at the beginning of this season, and you look at how TCU was able to end up breaking down BYU, and it was because they played in front of BYU for the entire game, and then all of a sudden it opened up the pass in behind. That's very similar to what Clemson has just done. They've been building through the thirds, passing to the next line, and instead they just decide to skip the midfield, and it gets Emma Werner almost in.
Tigers on it again. There were a couple of changes. Ashley Moon, Lucia Wells, both coming on for the Panthers for these final few minutes of the first half. And as we're all looking toward Cary, North Carolina and that Ally ACC championship, here is the battle for the top 6 seeds. And what you can see, we'll update those as matches go final today. And we'll also give you some updates at halftime at some of the other scores from around the league. Landy Mertz. And where has Sarah Shapansky been? I mean, that's one player who you'd think we need to see more of her, right? If you're a Pitt fan, top scorer in the ACC, you'd like to have her having more of an impact.
And it's just little moments like that, characteristic of Pitt. And that, again, we typically see them connecting these passes with the interchange of their front five, but all just a bit off. Whether that be the supporting angle or whether that be the actual delivery.
That's more of a dangerous ball than you might have thought initially, but Makowitz erased any chance of Pitt making something out of it. Now West has gone off, Fury has gone off for Pitt, so a couple of changes in that attacking group. Shapansky's still out there. You can see the number 5 in blue. Panthers have not had a shot since the 9th minute of play. They have just 2 shots, which would be the lowest in any half this season.
And while I do think that you have to give your opponents credit, I'll take a page out of Randy Waldrum's book when we were talking about that Louisville loss for them earlier in the season. Credit to Louisville. And yes, credit to Clemson. They're obviously a great defensive team. Anytime you can allow just single-digit goals at this point in the season is a phenomenal task. But I don't think that Pitt is doing themselves any favors. They're not really challenging or testing the Clemson defense just because of poor giveaways right now. That's very uncharacteristic of this Panthers side.
The good news, though, for Randy Waldrum and Pitt is there's still zeros up there on the scoreboard. So they might be frustrated with the way this first 45 has gone, but they know this is still anyone's match to claim.
And Pitt, a team that doesn't really need a lot of time to get things heated up in the final third.
Final few seconds being counted down, and it will indeed be 0-0 after our first 45 minutes in Clemson. So we came on talking about the offense, Marion, but it hasn't quite come alive yet, at least not in the form of goals.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to see Clemson continue with what they're doing. The interchange is great. And then for Pitt, just got to clean it up in the build.
Well, we've got Clemson head coach Ed 5 saves in that first half. Hallie Makowitz having to make just one in her goal on the other end. An important match for both of these teams as they look toward seeding and standing and thinking about the postseason and what that looks like. Pittsburgh coming off an incredibly impressive season. A year ago, they had a program record, 14 wins, 5 ACC wins, which, by the way, they've already tied coming into this match today. They qualified for the ACC tournament for the first time at the expense of the Clemson Tigers, who they drew with in their final game of the regular season in 2022. Clemson, of course, would also go on to the NCAA tournament, but were knocked out in the first round and have aspirations of going much further, perhaps as far as Pitt went last year, the Sweet 16 for the first time ever.
And important to note, really, that the second half for both of these teams, goals allowed by Clemson.
Chance and a shot at the near post. The Panthers once again starting off on the front foot. Samaya Fury forcing a save out of Makowitz.
That was a tough challenge from Sarah Shapansky and Hal Hirschfeld.
And Hirschfeld still shaken up after the fact. You can see one of the great leaders on this Clemson team.
And here it is, Abby O'Doon really getting more involved already. Sarah Shapansky, I like that challenge from her. Nothing malicious about it. Great no call by the referee. Just unfortunate that Sarah Shapansky seemed to get the eye. Oh, and she may be having a contact issue.
Yeah, Hal Hirschfeld, a 3-time All-ACC selection, 4-time if you include her all-freshman selection in 2019, but she's been second-team All-ACC each of the last 2 years. A really important part of this Clemson midfield.
Oh, yeah. Really does the dirty work for this team. Tracks for everyone, covers for everyone if they get caught in transition. A true box-to-box midfield player.
So she'll try to get that eye issue, if it's a contact or just getting the eye right, after that collision with Sarah Shapansky. But positive sign, I think, as you pointed out, for Pitt.
Oh, yeah.
To get Shapansky involved and laying her body on the line, just trying to make something happen.
I'm seeing a little bit more desire already from this Pitt Panthers side. They just, to Randy Waldrom's point, they just looked a little bit fatigued, a little bit flat-footed to start this first half. But they're a team that scores a lot of second-half goals. 30 goals total in the second half, 11 of those goals coming in the first 15 minutes. So a team that really knows how to start this second 45 minutes strong.
And Sammy Meredith has come on. Hirschfeld has gone off into the locker room, so we'll keep you updated as to her status and situation. Panthers looking for that fast start in the second half. Had the first 2 shots in the match off of their all-time leading scorer, Amanda West. But then things got awfully quiet after that for the visiting team. Ellie Caulfield trying to get it up to that front line. Now a chance one-on-one in the box. The Panthers. Shapansky takes it with her left and it glances off the crossbar. But there is your leading goal scorer in the ACC.
So much better already from this Pitt side. A long ball up top, not cleared properly, and falls in favor of Pitt. Sarah Shapansky, anytime she gets that ball in her left foot, watch out.
And after having just one corner kick in the first half, Pitt now with an early one to take here in the second. You saw Anna Bout getting the start in the second half. Bouncing ball from Szczepanski. Here is Bout, 5th year out of Cambridge, Ontario, Canada for the Panthers. Ball up over the top. Bout made the run, got it to Fury. Gets it across. Clemson had it well defended. Fall season's coming to an end, and 3 ACC championships are on the way here on ACCN and the ESPN app. You've got the men's 8K cross-country race on Friday morning at 8:30 Eastern, followed by the women's 6K. Then on Sunday, the women's soccer championship gets underway with first-round matches at 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern. Then next Tuesday, the field hockey quarterfinals begin with games at 1, 3:30, and 6 Eastern. ACC Network is the home of ACC championships. And interesting, Amanda West actually does not get the start in the second half for Pitt. Instead, Anna Bout, as I mentioned, is in there, as is Lainey Fuchs. And Ashley Moon all getting the start in the second half. Caulfield, another one of those players starting the second half on the bench for the Panthers. Maybe a little bit of a tactical shift with some of these changes. But the Tigers taking it away now. Looking to make something of it. Imagine we will see Amanda West sooner rather than later. She starts the second half, though, on the bench. I have a feeling she might have just gotten a glimpse of herself up on the video board at Riggs Field. Puts a smile on her face. Yes, we're talking about you, Amanda.
Yeah.
No Hal Hirschfeld at the moment for Clemson, in case you missed the start of the second half. Really one of the very first plays of the second half. She and Sarah Szczepanski from Pitt collided. Hirschfeld came off. Meredith came on. Not exactly a like for like there, as Hirschfeld, more of a defensive midfield player. Meredith checks in up top. Deborah Abiodun, Nigerian international, played for Randy Waldrum at the World Cup. Samaya Fury is tripped up at midfield. Band making their presence felt, getting a little atmosphere going in this final home match of the regular season for the Clemson Tigers. But there could be more matches to be played here at Riggs Field. The NCAA released their top 16 reveal. We had that on Thursday night in our matchup between North Carolina and Notre Dame right here on ACC Network. Clemson number 8, meaning they would have the opportunity to host in the NCAA tournament. Makowitz putting the ball back in play. Goalkeeper leading the ACC in both shutouts and goals against average. It's 11 shutouts. Number 1 in the nation as well. And Makowitz continuing to move up the single season and career charts at Clemson. Top 3 in both of those in terms of shutouts. Abiodun very composed.
Much better.
Yeah, some good possession, couple of passes strung together. Didn't see an awful lot of that in the first half from Pitt. And more Shapansky. That's a good thing if you're the Panthers. Not nearly enough at number 5 in the first 45.
And she's moved over to this left-hand side. Really her bread and butter position. She's a versatile player, can really play a lot of places, but such a pure left-footed strike. She gets the start over here as Pitt moves to a traditional 4-3-3 to start this second half.
I know they had preferred that 3-back, but the way that first half went, maybe not surprising, but the Tigers breaking it down. Now getting the shot and the goal! Clemson breaks through! McKenna Morris was kept home, kept quiet for much of the first half, but she comes alive and the Tigers find the back of the net.
The Clemson Tigers really just such a great second half team. Again, it's their style of play, their ability to wear teams down. It's really been all Pitt. In a moment's notice, playmakers that get involved. McKenna Morris, a lovely one-touch finish to the back stick. And that interchange is so hard for opposing defenders to track. That out-to-in run and a cheeky little ball in from Caroline Conti. Pinpoint finish. And Ellie Breach frustrated with that one. As you saw, a great angle there. She actually had it covered, just went under her armpit. And as good as she was in the first half, a savable finish there gets right underneath her. And now Pitt chasing the game.
Well, the Tigers had to be patient on Thursday night at Louisville. Did not get their first goal until the 71st minute. They have 15 goals in the final 20 minutes of play this year, so they know how to play their way into a match. Get it a little earlier this time. 54th minute. Goal by McKenna Morris, her 8th of the season. And that is your outside back, ladies and gentlemen.
I was about to say, let's all just make everyone aware that she is indeed the outside right back.
Offside flag up here. So now a little more pressure on the Pitt Panthers, a team that has never beaten Clemson. This is the 9th meeting between these two programs. Clemson 7-0-1, although that one came in the last meeting. A 0-0 draw on the road in Pittsburgh to end the regular season in 2022. Ball gets turned around, finds Fury at the near post, and she earns the corner.
And here's a really great opportunity now as we see what created this chance. A deflection leads to a corner kick. Jen, we talked about how important set pieces and dead ball situations are, especially when you're deep into a season. It's a Sunday, and now you're chasing the game. Can you make the most of these free opportunities? Cannot.
Not with that ball. Yeah, Shapansky will be disappointed in that. 9 assists on the season for the junior. But does nothing there to challenge Hallie Makowitz, and you're going to need something pretty special to get past this goalkeeper and this Clemson defense.
You know, did you find it interesting, Jen, when we were talking to Eddie yesterday, and I asked him, you know, you're such a team that it's got standouts, but you're also a team that has a lot of players that really probably fly under the radar. Who's your unsung hero? And he says, well, after, you know, at first, if you had asked me that at the beginning of the season, I would have said our goalkeeper. But
yeah,
with the way that she keeps trending, I feel like she is showing up more on people's scouting reports than some of our field players.
Yeah, she's definitely on the radar now with that #1 in the nation shutout mark. And of course, that is a team statistic as well, and she'd be the first
yeah.
to give credit not only to all those defenders in front of her, but to her other goalkeepers, part of her goalkeeper union run by former U.S. goalkeeper Siri Mullenix, on staff with Eddie Radwanski, the Tigers. Pitt looking better in the second half, though. They do trail, but they're keeping it. They're creating chances in this end. They're creating corner kicks, and they'll get another one here, their third of this second half. Here's Siri Mullenix. Such a valuable asset to have on your staff, right?
I'd say.
Yeah. All-American in North Carolina, silver medalist at the Olympics with the U.S., World Cup bronze medal. Yeah, I'd say 13th year too, by the way. She's been there for all of them with Eddie Radwanski at Clemson. Here comes the corner, better this time. Still a chance for the Panthers to put something on frame. Boy, that could have been deadly had Clemson been able to break out there, but it was covered defensively. Renee Lyles onto the field. Remember, she had the second half brace on Thursday night in that 3-0 win against Louisville. There is Lyles.
Step up! Step up!
A tentative touch. Gave it away momentarily, but now the Tigers back in control. Harper White looking to connect with Sammy Meredith. Now Meredith gets onto it. Touches it through for Bornkamp.
Step. Good.
Good step in the back line, but nowhere to go but out of bounds. Ashley Moon, the junior from Summers, New York, got the start here in the second half. Kenna Morris, the goal scorer for the Tigers in the 54th minute, the difference in this match so far. Is this an opportunity for Pitt to be a little more direct and about on the run? Good coverage once again by that Clemson defense. We are just getting confirmation. Hal Hirschfeld will not return in this match for Clemson, so that is certainly a big concern looking forward. Hopefully she'll be all right and ready to rejoin this Clemson team as they head to Notre Dame. We'll have them for you on ACCN on Thursday night in our primetime matchup. For Pitt, they'll head back home after this match. They'll host the Virginia Tech Hokies in their last regular season match of the year, trying to hang on to that top 6 spot at the very least in the ACC. Make it to the Ally ACC Championship. Abiodun had it for a moment. The season 4 premiere of All Access, the ACC Life, is tonight, and it features Clemson women's soccer, Florida State volleyball, and Georgia Tech men's cross country. Now in this show, you'll get unprecedented access into the lives of the student athletes, coaches, staff, parents, and fans. That is 4 Eastern, right after Pitt and Clemson soccer here on ACC Network and on the ESPN app.
Foxy right.
If this result stands for Clemson, the Tigers would stay in second place in the ACC standings behind the Florida State Seminoles, still within reach of that ACC regular season title should Florida State falter. but certainly still able to hang on to the top 2 seed and get the bye in the ACC championship. Now the Tigers earning a corner. You've asked, Marion, can they do more with these? Had 5 of them in the first half. Good service, but in the end, too close to the goalkeeper.
Great delivery. Pull that one out just a touch, though, and perhaps you find the incoming run of one of those back post players making that slot run.
I feel like it's been a better second half for Pitt, although Clemson has matched them, and it's been the Tigers who've been able to get the goal. Really one moment of brilliance. Good combination. McKenna Morris finishing it off in the 54th minute for the game's only goal. But the Panthers have seemed more comfortable, haven't they, Marion? And I don't know if it's a formation switch or personnel.
They have, and I think the next personnel change needs to be Amanda West back into the mix. She's a player that really can challenge the athleticism of this Clemson back line. She's very speedy, she's very shifty, and is a big moment player. And right now, that's exactly what Pitt needs. But you're right, it's been better. But can they make the most of situations like this?
Yeah, play it on the ground to Fury. I think she puts it off a Clemson player for a corner. She does. 4th corner of the second half for the Panthers. Looks like Amanda West is getting ready to check back into this match for the Panthers. She'll come on before this corner kick is taken. Replacing Bout. Ellie Caulfield also back on in the midfield. She and Chloe Minas both started the match there. But with the formation change, looking at just that one holding midfielder. Shapansky hasn't quite gotten the bend on it right yet from the corner. We know she is more than capable. Panthers still in possession. But this will be a Clemson throw.
And if you're Pitt, this is a really good moment to gamble. You've locked Clemson down into a deep part of their defensive third. Can you really win this one here? Gamble on it while you have numbers going forward and see if you can't get a dangerous opportunity on goal.
Fury trying to do just that. Dancing along the end line, eventually putting it into the gloves of Makowitz.
But that's a great decision right there. You know, Clemson is a team that is very, very good with the ball. And when you are playing a team that is good in possession, you can't spend all afternoon, especially on a Sunday, chasing and chasing. You've got to really be smart about picking your moments, when to press them, when to send a lot of numbers forward. That was a great gamble by the Pitt Panthers.
And this looking a little bit more like the team that is tops in the ACC, top 10 in the country in most offensive categories: shots, points, goals, corners, assists. I know they don't have any of the goals to show for it yet, but they certainly are looking more dangerous.
And look, I know it's hard to understand, but you know, you had mentioned this point earlier, Jen, and I just want to drive it home that Thursday, Sundays are tough, especially when you're playing a team for 90 minutes that you're trying to go toe-to-toe with the #1 team in the country.
Tigers with some momentum, driving into the area. Nice save. Velcro on the gloves of Breach.
And here, just too many Pitt players dropping and dropping and dropping. That looked much too easy for Conti there at the top of the 18-yard box, similarly to a goal that the Florida State team scored on this Pitt Panthers side to make that one 3-1 at one point. In that situation, you've got to have one player that just chooses to step. Instead, we saw the Pitt Panthers just drop and drop and drop until they were all at about the top of the 6-yard box.
Here's Amanda West. Can she make a difference? Look at all that space to the left if she chooses to go there. She goes right, passes it off to Szczepanski, who will take the shot, and Makowicz up for the save. Not happy with her defense.
Yep, way too much time and space for a player of Sarah Szczepanski's caliber. And I was with you, Jen. Why can't you just take that one, Amanda West, to the left? And it was likely because she saw the acres of space that Sarah Szczepanski has, and she just makes it look effortless. Makowicz obviously saying step, step, step. Shouldn't be having to make that save there.
Will this be the one Szczepanski gets right from the corner? Clemson looking to burn the other way. They've got McKenna Morris leading the charge down the field, and Breach well aware of it. That's your goalkeeper at midfield. It's a wide open goal for Clemson right now if they can get the chip. Breach has recovered.
That's a sigh of relief to see your goalkeeper back in the box.
Yeah. Still though, Clemson in possession now. Now you can fully let the air out.
And that one was dangerous. McKenna Morris, she's got some serious wheels on her, but they come out of it unscathed.
Little updated look at this road to Cary. So at the moment, because our match is not final, so we've not updated, should Clemson hang on, they would jump Notre Dame into that second spot. But this is what the standings look like with the other results. North Carolina winning big, Notre Dame getting a 1-0 victory today. Gave you some of those scores and highlights at halftime. Wake Forest, an important win to keep their hopes alive. Lane St. George replacing Conti for the Tigers. And now more space for West. Amanda West into the box for Pitt. On her left, it is blocked out of bounds. Another corner coming.
She's just a difference maker when she's on the field. Already, since her substitution, this Pitt side just looks more energized in the attack. A great through ball on the left-hand side and a lovely first touch to get in line. She makes the right decision to hold up her play, to find more runners in the box, takes that in line and forces a corner kick out of it. You have to wonder, though, could Amanda West have gone to the near post a little bit quicker, get herself a shot on goal?
Szczepanski at the near post now from the corner. Will get it back. One move. Gets herself free in front of the goal.
What a service.
Around the corner go the Panthers, still searching for that first goal. Pitt has yet to be shut out in a match this year. Fuchs has come off. And Olivia Lee back in, along with Haley Mercereau. Short corner. Still alive in the box. Zalski gets it back for Pitt. No whistle on the play. This will be a throw for the visitors. Couple subs coming in for Clemson. Tatum Short, number 11, started this match, and Emma Werner, excuse me, had a couple of really good opportunities when she came on in the first half. And you wonder too, Marion, Hal Hirschfeld is such an important piece in the midfield in terms of winning the ball, keeping control, connecting lines. She had to go out of this match early in this second half. And while Clemson does have the goal, this second half truly has belonged to Pitt. Feels a lot like the first half did, honestly, for Clemson, where you just felt like something was coming for the Tigers.
And to your point,
Fury on the turn.
She's so good, so creative on the ball. And Jen, to your point, as a defense, there comes a point in time where it becomes burdensome when all you're doing is defending and chasing, running back to face your own goal. There's only so much that the Clemson attackers can ask of their defense. There's only so long that you can have this stalemate hold off.
An offside actually was called there. Must have been right after that corner was taken. Can't be offside on a corner. So it was played short, and then that's where the offside came in.
Yep. Eddie Radwoski, you heard him saying, no, 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 he read my mind. You do not want your goalkeeper out taking this one in that situation. Heaven forbid it get picked up by a player like Amanda West, and she has a free look at goal.
Corner kicks, though, 8-1 in favor of the Panthers in this second half. Shots, they lead it 3-2, and you can basically flip-flop those. It was a 7-2 Clemson advantage in shots, 5-1 advantage in corners in the first 45 minutes. Szczepanski did keep it in. Sarah Szczepanski, 10 goals, 9 assists on this season for the Panthers. This team unaccustomed to seeing a 0 on the scoreboard. Hasn't happened since 2022. Chance now as Makowitz couldn't hang on to it. Still in the box, Abby O'Doon. Good touch, composed, but not the finish. ACC PM this week with Mark Packer and Taylor Tannenbaum is coming Monday from Mark's Basement Studio in Charlotte, and Friday from the ACC College Football Game of the Week, 4 to 7 Eastern, right here on ACCN and the ESPN app. Eight corners that Pitt has earned in this second half are the most the Clemson Tigers have conceded in any half all year. Previous high was 4. But as of yet, Pitt hasn't been able to turn those chances into goals.
And Pitt, with that flurry of substitutions that we saw, has gone back to their original 3-back. Get more numbers in the midfield, more numbers on the front line. And creating, Jen, to your point, a lot of opportunities. And the margin for error at this point in the season is so small. You have to think if this score holds true, it's going to be those corner kick opportunities that this Pitt Tide looks back on and says we should have done something more with them.
Marion, do you like the shift back to the 3-back? It feels like Pitt got their momentum in this half and they came out looking a little different.
Yeah, I like Sarah Szczepanski on the left-hand side, but I do think that it doesn't provide her with enough space to operate. I really like her at that attacking midfield position because she has freedom to roam. And Amanda West, you're not losing anything when you put her out there on the left-hand side. And now for Pitt, when you can get Amanda West, Sarah Szczepanski, and Landy Mertz all on the field at the same time, you have wingers, true wingers in Mertz and in West who can get you in line And again, it just gives Sarah Szczepanski a lot more freedom to roam, to find the openings, and to really be the playmaker that she is.
And maybe a little bit more initiative to dig deep now that you know there's only 13 minutes left on that clock. You might have had tired legs thinking about 80, 90 minutes in front of you.
Great point.
And Clemson, as you said a moment ago, Marion, has had to be doing a lot of defending in the second half.
And you have to trace that back to who's had more of the ball. Both head coaches have talked about how important controlling the midfield is, controlling that possession percentage. And in this second half, there's really no wondering why Pitt has had so much success. Although the score is still at 1-0 in favor of Clemson, they have had the better of the possession number in the second half by far.
Working it through all the way to the far side. Good ball from Ellie Caulfield. Out onto the wing. Mertz puts it right back in front of the goal, looking for the header, and it is saved by Makowitz.
And Samaya Fury on the backside, just a little bit too far out to make a play on this one. And well done for Makowitz to hold on to that. That's a tricky ball, the deflection, the spin. You're going to ground. That would have been an easy one for her to let bounce out of her hand. She doesn't. She holds on to it tightly. And now it's Clemson going the other way.
Short. It's been quiet in this match for Clemson. Now the freshman taking her time.
I would have loved to see her just have a crack at that.
Too unselfish, maybe, or trying to manage the clock. It's always a balance, right, when you got the lead?
It is. Look, as an attacker, though, I'm never going to get mad at someone taking a hit from the 18-yard box, especially when Ellie Breach has been, questionable in the second half. She was great in the first half, but really that goal, I think she's going to look back at that one, say, could she have gotten something on it?
Well, Short did take her chances this time, at least putting it in toward the goalkeeper. More of a cross than a shot, though. You can hear the bells chiming on campus at Clemson. But our final bell, still 10 minutes away from tolling in this one. Can the Tigers hang on?
It's been a surprisingly quiet game in terms of fouls conceded. Both of these teams have the ability to be really physical. You look back at that FSU game with Pitt, it was an extremely physical second half.
Free kick for the Tigers. You mentioned FSU, by the way. That is the only blemish, the only loss on this Clemson Tiger season so far. And that was a match Clemson led. And Florida State came back to win 4-2 in mid-September.
And Pitt led on this FSU team as well. They had some mental mistakes that allowed the #1 team in the country to get back in it. They closed it to 1, ended up losing that one by a score of 3-2.
Yellow card here on Mackenzie Duff.
And as soon as I say that it's been a quiet half in terms of fouls, here they come. That was a necessary foul, though, from Duff, because you don't hold that play up there. Samaya Fury is off to the races with lots of blue jerseys in front of her.
Samaya Fury actually still crouching in some pain, but the play continues. One on two now if Clemson chooses to go. Gwenner does what she can.
And that's a situation, Jen, where it didn't make any sense to have a go at goal. It didn't make any sense really to even serve that in, because now you're giving Pitt free possession. There were no Clemson runners in the box. And while the effort was valiant, that's a decision where you go to the corner flag, wait for your plays, and wait for your players to link back up to you instead of just forcing something that wasn't there and give Pitt the ball back the other way.
West once again driving in on this near side.
Good.
Caulfield.
Boy.
Shapansky serving it up over the head of Fury. This type of service you would be dying to get on the end of, isn't it, Marion? I mean, she just gives so many good looks to her teammates.
Where they've been really dangerous, though, their most frightening opportunities for this Pitt side has been when their wingers have gotten in line and sent a service back across the face of goal. They've had some decent shots from distance, but we've talked time in, time out about Makowitz and her ability to cover those up. I don't think that they're going to beat her on shots from distance. I think it's going to be those services that get the Clemson defenders running to face their own goal.
This is a clock issue, we've been told. It did not restart after that yellow card on Mackenzie Duff, so it's about 30 seconds we'll see difference here, but you'll notice it on the clock. Just need to get that adjusted, and our referee, Christopher Grabas, will make sure it matches up with what he has. Tough 8 minutes ahead, 8 minutes and whatever change there is officially for these two teams. Remember, Clemson, a win and then a win in their final game on the road at Notre Dame guarantees they stay in the top two. A tie, well, that might open things up a little bit more. And for Pitt, trying to make up some ground. Teams above them winning today: North Carolina, Notre Dame, Florida State. Of course, Clemson is above them in the standings. Wake Forest just below them, closing in. Would be just 3 points behind the Panthers with 1 game to go. So it looks like we're going to have just under 8 minutes, actually. 38 seconds, the difference, I'm being told. And now the ball back in play. Out of the reach of Abiodun on the set piece.
That was a really good ball in. Abiodun's run just a bit too early. Overran that one just a bit. Needed to be looped a little bit more, and she could have had a one-touch volley on goal.
This being what you would imagine the final push for both teams, getting the players they want on to finish the match. Lyles, Meredith, both coming in. Conti as well, bout back onto the field for Pitt.
And that'll be an attacking substitution, obviously, for the Pitt Panthers. Olivia Lee, more of that. We talked about her in the lineup highlight. She's going to be that left back. Anna Balto's going to be playing as more of an extra midfield player to help this Pitt team get a little bit more control of the ball and see if they can't have a few more dangerous opportunities late in the second half.
Another free kick. Panthers got a good look off the last one. What will they earn here? Nothing, says Makowitz.
Much too easy.
Couple of dates for you to keep your eye on as they are fast approaching for the Ally ACC Women's Championship. October 29th, a week from today, is when the quarterfinals begin. So top 2 seeds get the bye to the semifinals, which you'll see will be November 2nd, and then the championship November 5th, both the semis and the championship coming from Cary, North Carolina. Looking forward to having you there with us for that, Marion, getting in on some ACC championship action.
Absolutely. ACC, you know, it's just been it's been interesting, you know, to cover multiple conferences. Jen, we've done a couple together across conference, and I can just speak to the level of play that the ACC is presenting this season.
West
and my
getting
oh
the shot
my,
off.
are they just above and beyond a lot of the teams, a lot of the conferences that we've seen so far. It's going to be hard-pressed not to have an ACC national champion this year, I think.
Well, these teams would certainly support that claim, and 5 ranked, had 5 or 6 ranked most of the year. Of course, Florida State reigning as #1 at the moment. They were not #1 in that top 16 reveal. Let's see if that changes and they get that overall #1 seed as the season goes on. Other teams could threaten for it too. Speaking of threatening, West has been just that in this second half since coming on for Pitt. Under 5 minutes to play. Abiodun unleashes and doesn't miss by much.
Such a great touch out of pressure. Tatum short, gets caught a little bit too close. Abiodun makes work of her quite easily and then just has a crack at it. Why not?
You know, we came into this match, Mary and I was saying that I was really intrigued because I wondered if either of these teams would make believer out of me, out of fans watching, that they could contend for the championship. And I think both of them have shown some fatigue at times. That happens in Sunday matches. We saw it more in the first half for Pitt. I think we're seeing it in the second half for Clemson after they've had the lead. They've not been as aggressive as they were, or not as composed with their possession. But I think certainly both of these teams have a lot to offer and will be dangerous come the postseason.
I agree. I think so much of it too is the depth that's offered. We've seen so many substitutions from both of these sides, and really the level of play has not dropped. But the substitution that has made the biggest difference has been Amanda West. Unfortunately, she called offside in that instance, but she has been a big difference maker for this Pitt Panthers side since she's come on in the second half.
Yeah, not quite sure. Maybe it was just a chance to rest the legs a little bit, and Randy Waldrum thinking, this is a player I want to finish the match with, and I want her to be at full speed, full strength for that. Started the match, didn't start the second half, went about, maybe it was 15 minutes or so before she came on. Will all this work from the Panthers pay off? Here's West on it again in the box. 3 to go, blocked out of bounds for a corner. 9th corner kick of the second half for Pitt, 10th of the match.
And Amanda West does a great job getting a corner out of this one. The Shapansky West show has been the name of the game in the second half, but Amanda West has to continue holding on to this and just force something, because although you can't see from that angle, there were not runs in the box.
Chance for the follow-up shot is put too high. Pitt has never been shut out this season. Clemson has shut out a lot of people, and Makowitz adding to her total. She comes into today with 21 career shutouts. That is tied for 3rd. Trying to close in on the great Kaylin Sheridan, whose San Diego team in the NWSL is #1 seed, won the Shield in the league this year. Sheridan backstopping that team. Fury. Shapansky and Pitt, do they have anything to show for all this work? Really what has been a dominant performance in the second half. Abiodun. A lot of players pushed up higher for Pitt now. A minute to play. The Panthers, the #1 scoring team in the ACC, top 10 in the country in most offensive categories, being shut out at the moment by this elite Clemson defense. Fury could not pull off the defender. 35 seconds to go. Ashton Gordon gives it a ride, edge of the area. High ball, and Makowitz will hang on for dear life. Final few seconds ticking off the clock, but the Clemson Tigers are going to take this one. One goal was all it needed as Clemson takes down Pitt for their 7th ACC win of the season.
And for Clemson, consistency is what you ask for. Consistency is what you got. It's really difficult to play those Thursday, Sunday matchups, and sometimes it's not the prettiest soccer, but they were disciplined, they were focused defensively, and McKenna Morris was absolutely outstanding. But look, if you're the Pitt Panthers, don't sound the alarms. You were in this game. There are just a few things that need to be cleaned up. I think the Pitt Panthers are going to go back and look at this one and look at some of those corner kick opportunities. How can they be better in those? And really understanding that mistakes at this point in the season will cost you the game, especially against a really good side like the Clemson Tigers.